look at the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP functions. And these are very important functions in Microsoft Excel and worthy to know about. Now, the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP, these are all functions that you use to look up a value in a column, and then you return a result from a cell in a row where a match is found. So one thing to have in mind when you're doing these lookups is that the value that you're looking up has to be on the leftmost column. So that's here. It has to be on the leftmost column. And then the value that is being returned has to be on an adjacent column to the right here. So the leftmost column, you look up values here, and then you return a value on the adjacent column to the right. So the keyword we're looking at here is the left. So you cannot look up values on the right side and return values on the left side. You have to look up values on the leftmost column and return values that are adjacent towards the right. The VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup, and the HLOOKUP stands for horizontal lookup. So a major thing to know about these lookups, the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP, is that if your column has headers, you use the VLOOKUP, but if your rows are the headers, you use the HLOOKUP. So we're going to look at an example of both of them. So to illustrate how the VLOOKUP works, I've gone ahead to create this, as you can see here, and this is just this row, two rows, merge and center this, put this there. Then we have our customer name. I want to find the company, look up the value for the company and the country. So we have our customer name. Remember, I said that the column we are looking at has to be there at the left, and then you look up the values towards the adjacent, the right. So now let us first, to start this, let us first get a list of our customer names here. So remember what we did with data validation. So let's do that now. We've gone to the data tab and come to data validation. Click on that, and I want to create a list, and my source, I should Control Shift and press down. So I've selected all the names in that range, and here I have a list of my customer names. So I don't need to be typing the names to look up the values. So now I want to do the VLOOKUP. We start with the equal to sign, and then we do VLOOKUP. It suggests this for us. Now a couple of arguments are there. First of all is the lookup value. That is, what value are we trying to look up in this particular column that we are going to look up the value from. So the lookup value is this here, customer name. So I want to go through the customer name, and for a particular customer's name, we want to fetch the customer's company and the customer's country. So I have selected the first argument, which is the customer name here, and then the next argument here is the table array. Now you need to select the entire table, Now you do not select just here that you are looking up, just this column here. You need to select the entire table. So here, Control Shift, and then you select it there. So you have that, put the comma, and we have selected that entire table. The next thing that we have there is the column index. Now the column index number, that's referring to what is the number of the column that we want to reference want to look up this value from. So this is the column index that we want to look up the value from. So want to find, for here I want to look for the company, and company is here. So we are going to look at this from here, 1, 2, 3. So the third column is, so you put 3 there, And then the next argument you have there is very important: approximate match and absolute match. Now for this final argument that we have here, we have two things we can pass in there, can pass in true or false. Now if we give it empty, it defaults to true. Always best to just leave it as false here. So with false, your VLOOKUP will only find an exact match of what you are looking for. So we leave it at false here, false, and then let us close our lookup and press enter. And what do we have here? For the Ramsey, see that it came to, where is the Ramsey? Let me use one of these that's up here so that we can see what's going on. The Ramsey is hard to find. Let's use Richard Elliott. This is Richard Elliott here. So the company is Voltage. You see that we have Voltage. So what did it do? It came through this rule, and when it saw Richard Elliott, then it counted 1, 2, 3, because remember in our formula we said the column index should be 3. That is where it's going to get this value you're looking for. From 1, 2, 3, it got it, and then it returned the value for us, the voltage. And remember why we did this validation, so that we don't need to define different values for the customer name. We already have a list, so we can just do Natalie Potter and we get the country, the company name. We can do for Roger Mon and we get Sleops, which is the company name. We can do the same thing for our country, but I can just use the autofill. But for this, instead of getting, for our argument here, we could first of all change this to our lookup value. Then our range, we need to make sure it starts from A4. This starts from A5. So we see that we have selected the entire range to D33. Okay, it went further by one step, so we need to make it D32 here. 32 here. Then I want to look at country. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to change this to 4 here, and of course leave it as false. And then we have USA. So now if I just change Kim West, James Willard, I get blend USA. If I change to, let me see, Crystal Doyle, we get, look at Crystal Doyle here, we got Silver and Switzerland. So you can imagine where you have thousands and thousands of rows in your Excel worksheet, and you need to get these values real quickly. You see that this can come in very, very handy. So now let us work with the HLOOKUP. So to do that, let us just copy this. Remember I said that if your column has headers, you use your VLOOKUP, but your row has headers, you use your HLOOKUP. So let's do a paste special here, the paste special, and I want to transpose it so that's my column. So you see I have my column headers here, and my row has the headers, and then everything is on the other side. So let me drag this down here. Let me copy this and just so that we can just use it also here. All right, so now I want to still open this up. So I want to still look at our customer report. I already have my list here, so I don't need to redo that. So, but I want to look at the column, then my customer name, my company name, and the country for every customer. So instead of the VLOOKUP that we used here, we need to change this to the HLOOKUP. So we have the HLOOKUP. Let me get rid of everything in there so that we don't have issues. So now let us define it afresh. So we use the equal to sign, HLOOKUP, which is a horizontal lookup. Now the lookup value, of course, we've defined that to be here, which is this. And then we want to look at our table in our array. So remember, the lookup value has to be that first column, and then copy that. So that's our range that we've selected there. And then next thing is the row index number. So this is for finding the company. So the row index number here is 1, 2, 3. Same thing we have there, row 3. And then of course we still use our false to give us an exact match. I'm gonna close that bracket and let us see what we have here. Can use the autofill and just change this a bit, move this up, correct that, and this to this. Okay, so our HLOOKUP for this is correct also. We're also looking at a 4th row index, and then we okay that we have Switzerland. So look at our drop down now. Let us look at Crystal. Who is this guy? Crystal Doyle. Okay, we're not doing at Crystal Doyle. Let's look at Robert Musa here. So let's go and find Robert Musa, and we have Dars Ring and Austria. So this should, you can see here that we have seen how to use the VLOOKUP to look up values vertically and to look up values horizontally. Now this is very, very useful when you are working with values in your Excel spreadsheet. You can create calculations based on lookups. So you can look up a value and then, let's say for example, divide that value by another value, or multiply that value that you have looked up by another value. So this can be very useful while you're doing some basic analysis.